Ah, take a listen to that sound, eh? Not bad for a bunch of homeschooled boys from Tennessee, and those boys would be Caleb, Nathan, and Jared Followill. Now, they hooked up with their first cousin Matthew, and collectively known as the Kings of Leon. All right, so here's their story. The brothers spent a good part of their young life driving across the South in the States with their dad. He was a Pentecostal preacher. They lived on the road, going from one church service to the next. Hell, they slept in churches, in hotels, and even in their car. Now, as kids of a Pentecostal daddy, they didn't do a lot of listening to rock and roll music or even watching television. But just over 10 years ago, well, their life started to change. Their old man left the church. The family divorced. And the boys, well, they started to get into music. They also, by the way, started to experiment with certain vices that come along with the music world. A couple of the brothers moved to Nashville, made a few music connections, and then the other guys came in and they formed a band. And by 2002, Kings of Leon had interest from around 9 labels. Now, after a bidding war, they signed a deal. They released their debut EP in '03. 5 years of touring and 4 records later, Kings of Leon now sell out arenas in under an hour. They're huge in Europe, Australia, and New Zealand, and they're finally starting to hit it big in a place that used to ignore them, their home country of America. They've opened for U2, Bob Dylan, Pearl Jam, and they've got Rolling Stone magazine asking, how good can these guys get? The new record is called Only by the Night. It debuted in the top 5 in Canada with the hit single Sex on Fire. Everybody, Caleb and Matthew, Kings of Leon. Welcome, fellas. Good to see you. How are you? All right. From the moment you got going, you became big in the United Kingdom, and now people in your home country and in Canada, they really are getting a sense of who you are. Is it a bizarre feeling to come home and all of a sudden this is happening?
Yeah, well, you know, it's kind of something that we had hoped for from the beginning. It was always kind of weird coming home and trying to explain to your family what was going on over there.
No, really, we're really big in England, really.
Yeah, I swear, that's how I can afford this house.
Yeah, it's crazy when you go to, like, I don't know, like a Subway or something, or a sub shop, and you're like,
Subway.
And they're like, so why are you here? And you're like, we're in a band, you will not know us, like, just don't ask. And like, oh, they're still like, so what band are you in? Like, Kings of Leon, we're popular in the UK.
Like, same answer every time. It's like, oh yeah, Kings of Leon. I have to ask my kids. I don't know anything.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I get that all the time, man. I actually think it's kind of fun, though. You, going in and writing this record, the new record, there was a lot of conversation about your band. Was there a pressure felt within the group? Because you guys always wanted to be listened to by the masses, right?
I mean, when we first started, we said that if 10,000 people bought our record, that would be incredible, because that would mean 10,000 people knew who we were. But you know, it's just like any profession. You want to be the best at it, and obviously it's kind of a little. You get a little bummed out when you come back home, and you know, people don't give you the respect that, you know, you've been getting other places. But sure, I mean, you know, if us getting popular is going to mean that some of the crap that's on the radio is going to get knocked off the radio, then
Then why not, right?
yeah.
What do you, but as I'm sure you're experiencing, when you become a band that has a bunch of records out, where you're like somebody's pocket band, they're like, I love Kings of Leon, and they have to explain to their friends who Kings of Leon are. All of a sudden, when your mother walks down the street and can hum a Kings of Leon song, you're gonna face the other side, aren't you? People are gonna go, that band is everywhere, man.
Yeah, a lot of our fans feel like they've, you know, learned about us, and we're like kind of, yeah, like you said, like we're kind of like the pocket band. No one knows about us. And this record, I mean, we just did the same as the other records, and it just, yeah, it's just one of those things where people really don't like the fact that, you know, we're not their pocket band anymore. That we're actually getting, yeah, they say we're sellouts and stuff, but
We're billionaires.
I mean, it's, you know, it just
That's
had
the
to
worst
happen.
of all.
It just had to happen at some point, you know. I mean, this is our 4th album. So.
I know the standard answer has to be, you know, it comes with the territory, we get it, blah, blah, blah. But on some level, does it bug you that you wrote songs that reached a wider audience and some people are just going to hate on it?
Every song that has ever been a single of ours, I immediately wrote it off as a B-side. I can remember, like, literally every song, because, you know, as a music fan, I kind of feel that, and you can feel that it potentially is going to reach the masses, and it scares you, you know? It's like, even though in the beginning that's something that you aim for me it was always just kind of like a scary thing to get really popular. But, I mean, like I say, I mean, you know, I would rather 10 years from now people turn on the radio and hear multiple great bands as opposed to this smorgasbord of...
How far is this from your past? You can say shit if you want.
Oh, we can say
whatever you want, man. Yeah.
It's the hour, bro. You can say what you want.
Exactly.
Which hour is it, though?
This is the hour. It's the hour, Caleb. How, there you go, huh? This is a long way from perhaps the path that you would have thought would have been your path when you were 16 years old.
Sure.
You're driving around the country, your father was a preacher, and you were just, that was your life, right?
Yeah, I thought that's what I was going to do. I thought I was going to follow in his footsteps, but...
Be a preacher?
Yeah.
Did the Spirit call you? Did you feel like you had that?
I don't know. I felt like I needed to be doing something good. I knew that I wanted to do something that, I don't want to get all corny and cheesy.
Don't get it, man.
But I always knew that whatever it was that I did, I wanted people to see it and respect it and hopefully inspire other people to do it. I just didn't realize it would be music. I thought I was going to be traveling around in a car preaching instead. Traveling around on a bus, getting drunk.
Preaching. I'm sure there are plenty of preachers driving around getting drunk on the back of a bus.
My dad was one.
I mean, so you were with your old man, and then he was no longer a part of the church. That would have been, you would think, would be a massive moment in a family's life when so much is dedicated to it. Was it a big moment?
Sure. Yeah, it was kind of like one of those moments when I just started questioning everything and wondering, you know, what was real and what wasn't. And I think that is what really inspired me to write songs and just kind of, I wanted to experience life and what was really out there and what I'd been missing out on. And there was so much that I'd missed out on.
You didn't listen to music? I've heard that story, but was that accurate? The tellings of the fact that the guys in Kings Island didn't really have a relationship with pop culture?
Yeah, well, the religion that we were in, it was kind of a...
Religion?
Yeah, it was kind of forbidden to listen to music that wasn't, I don't know, gospel music. Yeah, Jesus music.
So you could only listen to Creed, is what you were saying? Yeah, exactly. That's all you could listen to, right?
Yeah, totally.
So do you remember the time you heard, I mean, the song that made you go?
Yeah, I do.
What was it?
For me, it was Tommy James and the Shondells, Crimson and Clover.
Oh, that's a creepy song.
I was riding with my uncle, and he always listened to oldies. And that song came on, and when I got to the... I was just like, what is that? And I knew that I wanted to make music, and then the next day at school, I got in the car with my buddy, and he put on some Pearl Jam, and I was just like, wow, you know, there is obviously a lot out there that I need to experience.
And then you opened for Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
That's lots of guys listen to Pearl Jam in their car with their buddies. Not many got on stage with them.
Yeah. Yeah, it is crazy, man.
What was it like opening for Dylan? Did you? I mean, you played a few shows with Dylan, right? Did you meet him?
Yeah, we met him. Yeah, we played a leg of his tour. He had like a tour where there was 3 different legs. I know it sounds funny, but 3 different bands. And I remember we played with him, and it was just kind of like one of those things where we just assumed that someone in his camp was like, you know, it'd be cool if you had Kings of Leon play with you. But I remember, like, the last show, he came in, he's like the sneakiest little guy ever. He's like, literally, he wears like shoes made of cloth. You can't hear him coming.
You can't get prepared for him to walk in, you know, you don't know. He just shows up immediately.
You'll smell like cigarettes and be like, let's go, and turn around. And he's like, oh, God. But I remember he's like, man, I'm so depressed. And we were just like, yeah? He's like, I just want to call those other bands, tell them to stay home. I just want y'all to finish the tour with me. Wow. And we're like, wow. Yeah, and then after that, he said, what's that last song you played? And I said, Tranny. He said, that's a hell of a song.
Yeah. That's Bob Dylan, man.
Yeah, that's incredible. And then after that show was our last show with him, and Nathan, our drummer, he was just, we were just supposed to stand off the side of the stage and just be like, oh, I'll see you later, like, thanks for having us on tour or whatever. And Nathan was the first one. He just gave him a big bear hug, and we were like, oh my God.
He touched the bomb.
Yeah. And then so we all had to do it, and it came around to me, and he had a big hat on, and I hugged him, and I knocked his hat off, and it was so awkward.
Do you, I know much has been made about the fact that you guys are enjoying being on the road and all that. I'm sure you've read rock and roll biographies and seen documentaries. Who keeps each other in line? Who lets you guys know when you're getting too far ahead of yourself?
Definitely not me. I'm usually the one that's getting put in line.
I'll kind of watch out for each other.
Yeah.
I guess.
It used to be Nathan. He used to be, I don't know, he would never drink. He hated the taste of alcohol. Now he's a raging alcoholic, so.
Suppose that's not good.
I don't know. We have people around us that kind of just, they'll get us together and be like, all right, now tomorrow we're leaving at midnight, because we have to be there, so we're not going to be getting drunk.
Do you listen?
About 3 o'clock we leave the next night.
Thanks for coming in, guys. It's great to see you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
The album is called Only by the Night. It's available wherever it is you find your music. Kings of Leon.